We begin this midday with breaking news out of Grady County. Thanks for joining us this midday. I'm Brian Jackson. US 319 is shut down this hour near Meridian Road. Georgia State Patrol has multiple crews on the scene of the crash, which involves a hazardous truck. Evacuations are taking place within a half-mile radius of the scene. A detour is currently in place on US 93 to Meridian Road. ABC 27 has a crew on the way. We'll have much more information for you both online and on air at WTXL.tv. We're also following two school threats in our area, the most recent in Wakulla County. The sheriff's office at Wakulla County high school student posted a threatening post on social media. Schools in that county go back to school next week, and this comes after a social media threat against Lowndes County Middle School. Students at Lowndes went back to school today with extra security around the school. The Suwannee County community is mourning the loss of a longtime public servant. We first told you the news on Sunrise earlier this morning about the death of the county's public safety director, James Summers. Summers was driving his motorcycle when it was struck by an SUV. It happened in Lake City on Tuesday night around 8 p.m. along Southwest Pine Mountain Road and U.S. Highway 90, just west of I-10. Tributes are pouring in on social media. According to the Suwannee Fire Rescue's Facebook page, Summers was returning home from a Board County Commissioners meeting when the accident happened. Summers had served with Suwannee County Fire and Rescue since 2001 and was named the county's public safety director back in November of 2012 after serving as the interim fire chief since May of 2012. The incident is still under investigation and charges are currently pending. Suspended Tallahassee Commissioner Scott Maddox and his longtime aide and business partner, Paige Carter Smith, pled guilty before a federal judge on Tuesday. This case has been a black mark on the city government for more than a year. ABC 27's Jada Williams was in the courtroom and has all of the details on their plea agreement.
The legal journey for Scott Maddox and Paige Carter Smith is one step closer to ending. Before a federal judge, both admitted their guilt and accepted a plea bargain.
Mr. Maddox accepted responsibility for what he did, but there were a lot of other things in the indictment that we felt very strongly that he wasn't guilty of.
39 of the charges were dropped because of that plea deal. Meanwhile, the other defendant, J.T. Burnett, will still go to trial despite his attorneys attempting to push that date back.
Every day we're finding more exculpatory evidence.
Burnett's attorney tried to get more time to go over thousands of pages of documents and hundreds of hours of recordings. It's all part of a large-scale FBI probe that's still plaguing city government.
Cases like this one are the reason for our public trust unit and its broad mission.
The U.S. Attorney's Office announced the creation of the task force following Maddox and Carter Smith's guilty pleas.
We in the Public Trust Unit of the United States Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Florida shall identify, investigate, disrupt, and prosecute anyone and everyone who threatens our way of life and our system of government by abusing their official power and abusing our public resources for their personal gain.
Now on the third floor of the U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI agents, the IRS, and the Department of Justice will work alongside them to crack down on any form of corruption in government. Corruption that Maddox's attorney says his client regrets being a part of.
I hope Tallahassee heals after all this because much of his life has been devoted to Tallahassee and trying to make it a better place to live.
And now for our first look at weather. We'll have much more from Reed. Oh, okay. Oh, until weather, gotcha. Okay, and that comes later, gotcha. Okay. All right, that plea agreement only dealt with 3 charges, 2 for extortion and 1 for tax fraud. Maddox and Carter Smith will both be sentenced on November the 19th, and J.T. Burnett will go to trial on November 4th. And 2 people are arrested in the Gadsden County dogfighting ring, which will learn their fates later on today after pleading guilty to several of those charges. The Gadsden County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshals Service arrested a total of 8 people back in June. They're all facing 80 federal charges for the type of activity that you see here on your screen. Randall Colston and Serene McMillan are both scheduled for a sentencing hearing later on this afternoon. The other 6 are currently awaiting trial set for October 29th. They're all facing 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. The rest will go on trial on October the 29th. And First Alert meteorologist Reed Liebarger is up now with a check of your local forecast. Reed, it's getting a little bit warm out there. Warm and humid outside as you step out the door with temperatures sitting in the mid-70s. We're going to see some scattered coastal showers through the early mornings, and by the afternoon, the coverage should have expanded inland, bringing showers and storms further north along I-10 and the state line by later on this afternoon. Yeah, I saw that. I kind of realized that, like, okay. All right, 3, 2, and 1. We're in prime storm season already, and already this year, we're seeing more and more house fires caused by lightning strikes. In fact, according to the National Fire Protection Association, lightning fires are common in June throughout August. Andrea Lyon has more on what you need to know to keep your family safe.
They've been really, really close.
There's only one way.
It's almost like a bright white light.
Cynthia Brown can describe a Florida storm.
It is crazy, and more frequently.
ABC Action News has noticed it too. Afternoon storms so bright, it's hard not to notice.
It could happen in an instant.
I took this video right outside my Polk County home, which made me ask, just how many fires have these Florida storms caused? Polk County Fire Rescue tells me in the last 3 years, there have been 33 lightning-sparked fires. 23 of those are this year alone.
When that lightning that's so hot ignites, that's a surefire.
Included in that number, 8 buildings burned, like this historic Lakeland home, now being remodeled after lightning hit it in June.
I looked up and there was flames dancing out of the back of his roof line.
Polk County Fire Rescue offering these 3 pieces of advice. Stay off electrical equipment. Avoid using plumbing. Lightning can travel through sinks, showers, etc. And always make sure your smoke detectors are working.
Smoke was billowing.
For Cynthia, this fire served as a reminder.
That is frightening.
And coming up, Tallahassee Police's Officer Damon Miller is up next. We'll go over why you need to be extra cautious around school buses. Okay. Okay, so it just comes in cold. So it's coming in cold for a package, basically? We can go straight to the package.
Good afternoon, I'm Yodit Tewalde. The prosecution's case in chief resumed today in Tennessee versus Eric Boyd. He's the 5th suspect to go on trial for the brutal double murder of a young couple in Knoxville more than a decade ago. Boyd is already serving a prison sentence for helping one of the killers hide from police. Prosecutors say Channing Christian and Christopher Newsom were tortured and killed on a cold January night in 2007. A neighbor, Jerome Arnold, testified he was up late and heard what sounded like gunshots.
I was watching a late night television program. I looked at my watch and it was 1:45. At first I thought, well, it was a week after New Year's, maybe somebody's shooting off some leftover firecrackers or something, but it stopped with those 3 pops.
Eric Boyd has pleaded not guilty and faces life in prison if convicted. That's the latest for now. Court TV will keep following all developments in this trial. Now back to you.
President Trump is on the road today visiting the 2 sites that both experienced mass shootings over the weekend. His first stop was Dayton, Ohio, followed by El Paso, Texas. His visits resulted in a lukewarm reaction from both people and political leaders in both cities. ABC's Megan Tesvervian is live in El Paso with the latest.
President Trump on his way to Dayton, Ohio today, meeting with families and first responders after those deadly mass shootings that left at least 31 people dead and dozens injured. The president facing protests at one expected stop during his visit, the hospital where some of the injured are being treated, after suspected shooter 24-year-old Connor Betts opened fire, killing 9 people and wounding dozens of others Sunday. In El Paso, the president is expected to get a lukewarm acceptance. Just hours ahead of his arrival in Texas, Trump lashed out at former El Paso Congressman Beto O'Rourke, tweeting, "O'Rourke has a phony name to indicate Hispanic heritage," telling the 2020 Democrat candidate to be quiet. O'Rourke firing back, tweeting, "22 people in my hometown are dead after an act of terror inspired by your racism. El Paso will not be quiet, and neither will I." El Paso residents trying to heal after Saturday's shooting, questioning the president's visit.
Why would he want to come? He has promoted a lot of this, all this anger. He has promoted it across the nation, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop.
This will be President Trump's second visit to El Paso this year. In February, he held a rally talking about undocumented immigrants and the border wall. Megan Tavrizian, ABC News, El Paso, Texas.